Sometimes in life there comes a point when we get tired. We get tired of being obese. We get tired of being overweight. We get tired of not having any energy. Tired of feeling sluggish and fatigued. Just tired of not having the energy to go. Tired of the fact that our cravings rule us. Today I'm going to share with you what I found helped me and still helps me to this day. And that's the ketogenic diet, the keto diet. Today I'm going to give you some tips on how to start the keto diet and how to start it and give you, I believe, the most success. This is what has brought me success. And these tips I'm going to share with you are what I use to get where I'm at today. I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm now skinny or nowhere near skinny. I'm no longer obese, and I've been trending in an area about 200 to 210 pounds that I've been happy with. I have energy. I have more energy than I had 30 years ago, and I feel good. Anyway, let me tell you how I did it. So first off, what is a keto diet? A keto diet is simply a high-fat, moderate protein, and very low-carb diet. It consists primarily of eating whole foods. I always like to put it this way: if God made it, then we eat it. So you're looking at meats, some dairy, cheeses, a little bit of dairy. You're looking at low-carb veggies, mostly of what grows on top of the ground. You're looking at berries like raspberries and blueberries and blackberries, maybe some strawberries. We look at eggs, of course, and olives, avocados, good whole foods. And that's in a big contrast to the foods we see today, which are, we look at, and Americans consume so much fast food. And I'm not just talking about McDonald's and Wendy's, but I'm talking about going into your local self-service gasoline station and grabbing, a snack cake or candy bars and so on. Our diets today are sometimes, I think, I think they're lab experiments. If you pick up some of the food that we eat, you couldn't pronounce none of the ingredients on the label. And sometimes I don't even see any food in the ingredients. So anyway, it's a big contrast. And I tell you what, the keto diet will make you feel better. It'll give you energy. It'll help you lose weight. And here's how to get her started. Number one, clean out your kitchen. Not only your kitchen, but clean out your secret snack place. I don't know. You may have it a nightstand beside the bed or hid in a dresser drawer. I don't know. But clear it out. Clear it out of all those carbs. I'm talking about candy and cakes and pies and candy bars and then let's get down to the other stuff, like bread and rice and sugars and pasta. And that's the first thing you do, because if it's there and within your reach, then you're going to be tempted to go for it. So clear it out before you start. Don't think that you'll be able to overcome the temptations in the first week or so. Then, if you're in a situation where you're the only one in the house that's going to be doing keto, then what you want to do is at least put that stuff behind doors where you can't see it. Put it back in cabinets. Make it so that it isn't easily accessible to you. But, I know it's hard, but put it away. The second thing you want to do is you want to find the acceptable foods. If you go to my community here on YouTube, you'll find a list. I've got like 4 or 5 different pictures of the list of acceptable keto foods. And look through that list and make yourself acquainted with those foods. You can even take and print those lists out and keep them with you, They're in a JPEG format, so you can take them, download them to your phone and save them. Make yourself acquainted with those foods. And then what you want to do is sit down, and I recommend for the first couple weeks, make you a menu. You got to have a strategy, you know? Put you together a plan, because if you don't plan, then, really you're planning for failure. So make you a plan, and then go get your foods in, Go out and get your foods and get them in. Now, let's look at where you're going to start. For me, and this is me, I'm not a doctor. You should consult your doctor before starting any diet like this, but I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing with you what worked for me. I started at 50 grams of carbs a day for the first week and kind of got myself into it. I'm going to be honest with you, there might have been a day or two that I had 75 carbs or 60 carbs. I tried to never go over 75, but 50 was my goal. And most days I hit my goal of 50. And then after a week, I turned the carbs down a little more, and I go down to 30 carbs. And then I stay at 30 carbs for a week, see how I feel, see how I'm doing, see how the weight loss is going. And at 30 carbs, if I'm comfortable and I'm doing well, I may stay at 30 carbs. If I feel like I'm in ketosis, myself, I have a keto meter, so it's a blood stick, just like checking your glucose, and I check my ketones. I'll put a link down in the description for Keto Mojo one. And anyway, I check my ketones, and if I'm running, normally they say you're in ketosis. In other words, your system has changed from burning carbohydrates to burning fat for fuel. And when you burn fat for fuel, you produce ketones. So if I look and I check my ketones and they're somewhere between, we'll say, 0.5 and 2.0, I'm happy. And if they're in that range, I may stay at the 30 carbs. If they're lagging and I'm down below 1.0 and I might be at 0.4 or 0.5, then maybe I'll crank my carbs down to 20. Now, once again, I'm going to be planning for the week. Every time I have a failure in my carb count is because I didn't prepare ahead, okay? Meal prep would be a good idea. You can take Sunday and meal prep, get together a few things that you can eat. I like to have something on hand to snack on. So, like I do hard-boiled eggs, and that way if I get hungry, I can grab a hard-boiled egg. Or maybe for breakfast in the morning, I'll grab a couple hard-boiled eggs before I head out. The alternative is on days when I don't, then I'm probably going to eat something I shouldn't, like a sausage and egg McMuffin at McDonald's. And there goes my carbs for the day, and I'm eating meat the rest of the day, which I have done, So plan. Get your limit set. Decide where you're going to start. Maybe you're really carb addicted. You want to start at 75 carbs. Then the next week go to 50, and the next week 30. Do that if you have to. But get a plan. And then you can take, and I the first week or two, since you're going to be new to it, I would recommend that you actually track your eating. I use an app called Lose It. I like it. And I track everything I eat. The first couple weeks, and back before I knew what I was doing real well, I measured everything. I weighed everything for the first couple weeks. And then you get to where you know what you should be eating. And once you figure that out, you don't have to track anymore. Because then you'll know, a cup of green beans has 7 carbs. Or a half a cup of broccoli has, 4 carbs or 3 carbs. And you'll begin to know how many carbs there is in the food that you're eating. Then you'll have no real need to track the calories or track the carbs anymore. I don't even track really calories. I watch for carbs. Got to keep my carbs below my number. And that's what you should be concerned about. Don't worry about your calories. Worry about your carbs. Keep your carbs down. So track and keep an eye on it. And like I say, prepare and plan. Then the next thing is the keto flu. A lot of people get the keto flu. And the keto flu is just, hey, you feel like you're starting to take the flu. you get lethargic and you just get tired and your mental clarity gets a little shaky, maybe, and you just feel like the you got a bout of the flu coming on. You just feel horrible. I'll admit, but it doesn't last long. You just need to persevere through it. Now, in that process of that keto flu, you can lessen the effects of it, and sometimes you can even beat it and not even go through the keto flu if you do a few things. Number one, stay hydrated. Drink at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. The whole time you're on this keto, that's what you ought to do. We ought to do that anyway. Drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Number two is that you can supplement with some kind of an electrolyte supplement. If you watch any YouTube videos on keto or carnivore or anything, you'll see they recommend Element, LMNT. And the reason they do is of course, it's a sponsor. And but at the same time, even though they are sponsors, their product does work. I have used Element. Takes a little getting used to, because remember, it's kind of a salty drink. You add a packet of the Element to water, and it is a little salty and takes a little getting used to. But Element will replenish your electrolytes. That's what causes the keto flu. You can also drink a couple cups of broth a day. I usually buy bouillon cubes at my local Walmart, and you just put them and dissolve them in hot water, stir it up, and drink it. And of course, they're high in sodium too. And those two tips right there, well, those three, will help you lessen the effects or maybe even beat the keto flu, and you can keep going. Now, the next thing is that you really need to make sleep a priority. We're finding out today, more and more studies out showing that sleep is very important to us, especially in the lines of weight loss and weight management. Sleep is very important, so try to see to it that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, if possible. And then one of my last tips, and this one I saved for last, is eat simple whole foods. Now, when you go to the grocery store, you're going to see a lot of products marked keto friendly or keto. There's keto bread, there's keto ice cream treats, there's keto ice cream, there's keto Pop-Tarts, there's keto bars, candy bars, there's even keto peanut butter cups, all kinds of keto stuff. And I recommend highly that you stay away from that stuff for the first at least 2 or 3 weeks, maybe the first month. You want to keep your cravings at bay, and you don't want to be drawn back. Those keto treats are there for a reason. They're there to make a company money, not necessarily to help you. The keto diet's about whole foods, unprocessed foods. Get your start with that. Then after a month or so, if you want to try and branch out a little on the keto foods that they have out there, go ahead. But if you do that, make sure that you not overly consume them. You can do this. I'm sure you can. If I can, I have lost a lot of weight on the keto diet over the years. And just even here recently, a few months ago, probably 3 months ago, I lost 25 pounds in 30 days on the keto diet. And you can do it too. I got friends. I got friends right now. The husband has lost 60 pounds and the wife has lost 30 pounds. And they have done that in a couple months doing keto. So, I just want to encourage you. You can do this. Get down there in the comment section. Let me know if you've ever tried keto, if you're going to try keto. Let me know, what do you struggle with food-wise? And let's talk. And like I say, if you go over to my community, you'll see that there's a food list posted there. And you can copy them and get familiar with it so that you can be successful. Anyway, if you like this, give me a subscribe, please, and like, and maybe even consider sharing if it touches you that much. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Grandpa Keto.